My husband stopped seeing me the day I said I do. For 6 months, I was invisible in my own home. But tonight, at his company's biggest event of the year, I walked through those doors in a dress that cost more than his ego, and suddenly, everybody remembered my name. Before we dive into this story, hit that like button if you've ever felt invisible to someone who should have seen you the most. And subscribe because, honey, this transformation story, it's one you don't want to miss. Now let me tell you how I went from forgotten wife to unforgettable woman. Let me take you back to where it all started. My name is Gabrielle Thompson, and 2 years ago, I met a man who changed my life. Malcolm Thompson, self-made billionaire, tech genius, fine as hell, and could make me laugh until my stomach hurt. We met at a charity event in downtown Atlanta. I was there designing the floral arrangements for the venue. That was my thing back then, making spaces beautiful. He walked up to me, looked me dead in my eyes, and said, "You made this room feel like magic." Girl, I was gone. We dated for 8 months, and it was like living in a dream. He took me to Paris for my birthday. We had late-night talks about everything, our childhoods, our fears, what we wanted to build together. He told me he wanted a partner, not just a wife, someone who would stand beside him, challenge him, grow with him. And I believed every single word. When he got down on one knee at Stone Mountain with both our families there, I didn't hesitate. I said yes with my whole chest. The wedding was everything. 300 guests, a dress that made me feel like royalty, and Malcolm looking at me like I was the only woman in the world. Our honeymoon in Bali was perfect. We talked about starting a family, about me expanding my design business, about building a life that was ours. But somewhere between I do and reality, something shifted. It was slow at first, so slow I didn't even notice I was losing him. It started with the late nights at the office. Malcolm had always been a hard worker. That's how he built his empire from nothing. But before we got married, he made time. He'd leave work early to take me to dinner. He'd call just to hear my voice. After the wedding, those calls stopped. The dinners became me eating alone at our long dining table, staring at the empty chair across from me. When I'd ask him about his day, I'd get one-word answers. Fine, busy, tired. And then he'd disappear into his home office until I was already asleep. I tried everything to get his attention back. I cooked his favorite meals. I planned date nights. I bought lingerie that sat in my drawer with the tag still on because he'd come home too exhausted to even look at me. I started dressing up just to sit in our living room hoping he'd notice. He'd walk right past me like I was part of the furniture. Do you know how that feels? To put on your best dress, your best smile, your best everything, and have the man who promised to love you forever look through you like you're not even there? 6 months into our marriage, we had our first anniversary. I planned everything. Made reservations at the restaurant where he proposed, bought a gift, a watch engraved with the coordinates of where we first met. I got my hair done, wore the perfume he loved, put on a dress that reminded me of our wedding day. I waited for him for 3 hours. 3 hours. He never came, didn't call, didn't text. When he finally walked through the door at midnight, he looked surprised to see me still up. "Oh, was that today?" he said. Like our anniversary was a dentist appointment he forgot. I cried myself to sleep that night while he snored beside me, completely unbothered. But the moment that broke me, the moment I realized I had become absolutely nothing in my own marriage, I overheard him on a call with his assistant. I wasn't even trying to eavesdrop. I was walking past his office when I heard my name. "Gabrielle? She's just at home. She doesn't do much, just at home." Like I wasn't a person with dreams and talents and a whole life before him. Like I had evaporated into nothing the moment I became Mrs. Thompson. I stood outside that door, and something inside me cracked wide open. Not with sadness, with rage, with clarity, with the sudden, painful realization that I had let this happen. I called my best friend Candace that same night. Candace and I had been tight since college. She's the one who always kept it real with me, even when the truth hurt. I told her everything through tears, how invisible I felt, how small I'd become, how I didn't even recognize myself anymore. And Candace, God bless her, didn't coddle me. She said, "Gabby, baby, listen to me. You taught that man how to treat you. You shrunk yourself down to fit into his life, and now you're mad that he can't see you? Girl, stand up. You're Gabrielle Thompson, the woman who built a whole design business from scratch, the woman who lights up every room she enters. When did you forget that? Her words hit me like cold water to the face. She was right. I had spent so much energy trying to be the perfect wife that I forgot to be myself. I stopped working on my business, I stopped seeing my friends, I stopped doing the things that made me feel alive. I thought that's what marriage meant: sacrifice, putting him first, being supportive. But I had sacrificed so much of myself that there was nothing left for him to love. I had become a shadow, and you can't fall in love with a shadow. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to beg Malcolm to see me anymore. I was going to remember how to see myself. I dusted off my portfolio and started reaching out to old clients. Within 2 weeks, I had booked 3 design consultations. Within a month, I had my first major contract, a boutique hotel in Buckhead that wanted a complete interior renovation. The money was good, better than good, but more than that, I felt alive again. I was creating, building, using my mind and my gifts. I'd wake up early, excited about my day. I'd come home fulfilled, not desperate for Malcolm's attention. I joined a gym and started working out. Not to look good for him, but because I needed to feel strong again. I got back in touch with my girls, Candace, my cousin Nicole, my sorority sisters. We started having our Sunday brunches again, laughing until our faces hurt. I invested in myself, new wardrobe, hair appointments, skincare routines. Not because I was trying to win Malcolm back, but because I was trying to win myself back. And slowly, I started to glow. People noticed. Clients complimented me. Strangers smiled at me. But Malcolm? He barely looked up from his laptop. Then, 2 weeks before Malcolm's annual tech gala, the biggest event his company hosts every year, his assistant called me. Not him. His assistant. She was sweet, professional, and clearly uncomfortable. Mrs. Thompson, Mr. Thompson asked me to remind you about the gala on the 20th. He said to make sure you're ready by 6. He'll need to leave by 6:15. That was it? No invitation, no, I'd love for you to come. Just a logistical reminder, like I was another item on his calendar. When Malcolm got home that night, I asked him about it. He didn't even look at me. Yeah, the gala. Just wear something appropriate, something classy. You know how these things are. Something appropriate, like I was a child who needed to be told how to dress. I smiled and said, of course. But inside, I was planning something. This gala was going to be my stage. Not to get Malcolm's attention, I was done begging for that, but to remind myself, and everyone else in that room, exactly who Gabrielle Thompson was. I called Candace immediately. Girl, we're going shopping. And I need you to help me find a dress that's going to make everyone forget their own names. We hit every boutique in Atlanta. I tried on dozens of dresses, beautiful dresses, safe dresses, appropriate dresses, but none of them felt right. Then, in this small boutique in Midtown, I saw it. An emerald green gown, silk, floor length with a neckline that was elegant but daring. It hugged every single curve like it was made specifically for my body. When I put it on and looked in the mirror, I didn't see Malcolm's wife. I saw Gabrielle. Powerful, radiant, unforgettable. Candace actually gasped. Girl, that's the one. That's the dress that's going to remind him what he's been missing. The night of the gala, I spent hours getting ready, hair in soft curls that cascaded down my back, makeup that made my brown skin glow like I was lit from within, gold jewelry that caught the light with every movement, and that dress, Lord, that dress. When I looked at myself in the full-length mirror, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Power, confidence, beauty. Not for Malcolm. For me. Malcolm left the house early, like I knew he would. Told me he had to be there to greet guests. Didn't ask if I needed a ride. Didn't tell me I looked nice. Didn't even really look at me. Just kissed my cheek out of habit and left. And honestly, I was relieved. Because I didn't want to arrive with him. I wanted to arrive on my own terms. I showed up 30 minutes after the event started, fashionably late, intentionally unforgettable. The ballroom was stunning, crystal chandeliers, champagne towers, Atlanta's elite in their finest. I took a deep breath, adjusted my dress, and walked through those double doors. And I swear to you, the room stopped. Conversations paused mid-sentence, heads turned, eyes widened. I held my head high and walked in like I owned the place, because in that moment, I did. Malcolm's business partner, Trevor, was the first to approach me. Trevor was always friendly, always respectful, but the way he looked at me that night was different. His mouth literally dropped open. "Gabrielle? Wow, you look absolutely incredible." Other people started noticing. Men I'd never met introduced themselves. Women complimented my dress, asked who my designer was, asked for my card when I mentioned my business. I networked, I laughed, I sparkled. And across the room, I could feel Malcolm's eyes on me. When I finally glanced his way, he was staring at me like he'd seen a ghost, or like he was seeing me for the first time. His face was a mixture of shock, confusion, and something else, something that looked like regret. He started walking toward me, but I smoothly turned to continue my conversation with a potential client. I wasn't playing hard to get. I genuinely had better things to do than wait for my husband to acknowledge my existence. Trevor asked me to dance. I said yes. We moved to the dance floor, and I felt Malcolm's presence before I saw him. He cut in, his hand on Trevor's shoulder. "I'd like to dance with my wife." His voice was tight, possessive. Trevor looked at me and I nodded. It was fine. It was time for this conversation anyway. Malcolm pulled me close as we danced, closer than he'd held me in months. His hand on my waist felt foreign and familiar all at once. "What's gotten into you?" he asked, his voice low. Like I'd done something wrong, like I was the one who needed to explain myself. I looked him directly in his eyes. "What's gotten into me?" "Malcolm, I disappeared. For 6 months, I disappeared, and you didn't even notice. So I decided to come back, not for you, for me." He looked confused, defensive. "I've been working, building something for us. You know how important this company is." I smiled. Not a happy smile, a sad one. "You built an empire, Malcolm. But you lost your wife. I was right there, every single day, trying to love you, trying to reach you, and you looked through me like I was invisible. Do you know how that feels? To be married to someone and feel more alone than you ever did when you were single?" His jaw clenched. "That's not fair, Gabrielle. I've been under a lot of pressure." I shook my head. "And I've been under a lot of loneliness. I tried, Malcolm. I tried so hard. But I can't be invisible anymore. I won't be. So here's what's going to happen. We're either going to build a real marriage, where you actually see me, hear me, prioritize me, or we're going to build a real divorce. But I'm done living like a ghost in my own home." I saw something shift in his eyes. Fear, realization, pain. He pulled me closer. "Gabby, I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I didn't see it. But I see you now. I see you right now." I felt tears prick my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. "It shouldn't have taken this dress, this event, or everyone else seeing me for you to remember I exist. But maybe it needed to happen this way. Maybe we both needed to wake up." The song ended. I stepped back from him, and for the first time in months, I saw my husband. Really saw him. Not the cold, distant man who'd been living in our house, but the man I married, broken, scared, and finally paying attention. He reached for my hand. "Can we go home? Can we talk? Really talk?" I looked at him for a long moment. Then I nodded. "Yeah, we can talk. But Malcolm, things are different now. I'm different now. And if we do this, we do it as equals. Not as a billionaire and his accessory, as partners." We left that gala together, his hand in mine. But everything had changed. I had changed. And as we drove home in silence, I knew that whatever happened next, I would never make myself small again. I would never dim my light to make someone else comfortable. I had walked into that ballroom and reclaimed myself, and whether our marriage survived or not, I had already won. That night changed everything. Not because a dress made my husband see me, but because I finally saw myself. Sometimes you have to disappear to remember you were always there. And honey, when you show up for yourself, the whole world shows up too. If this story touched you, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me, have you ever had to reclaim yourself in a relationship? Share your story below. I read every single one. And subscribe to this channel for more real talk about love, self-worth, and knowing when to walk in that room like you own it, because guess what? You do. I'll see you in the next video.